the NUUU, Nations United, UNUversal University, is dedicated to supporting and providing a real purpose and real awareness with the all-natural environment, supporting all of us. First comes this earth, with food and rainforests, and to protect what is still here. The following information was sourced from the YouTube video Restoring the Ancient Caledonian Forest with Alan Watson-Featherstone. The full video is available in the links. One of the reasons why the natural environment is so desolated is because we are actively preventing it from restoring itself. We do this by maintaining artificially high numbers of large herbivores on the land, with Scotland as the example. From the video this was sourced from, red deer and sheep. These animals graze everything down to a few centimeters in height. Every tree seedling that has germinated from the past 200 years in unprotected areas has been eaten. What happens then is the trees reach the end of their lifespans and die, with no new ones to take their place. Experimental work has been done to reduce the grazing pressure, putting up fences to keep the deer out, and the trees would begin to then emerge. No planting was necessary. They were self-grown from the older trees. Once the trees were big enough, the fence can be removed, as they are safe from being eaten. The trees then continue to produce seedlings, and the process of recovery of forests can accelerate. This is a natural regeneration. That's the best option, but only works if you have a seed source nearby. Many of the devastated forests are bereft of trees, so there are no seeds. It becomes necessary then to plant trees. The idea is to mimic nature by planting where we know the trees will grow, avoiding straight lines, and planting instead in groups and clusters. With a forest recovery, it's not just the trees that grow, but everything comes back, shrubs, heather, etc. And it isn't just then fields of grass. Amazingly, some species start to grow even though the nearest source of them can be miles away. Bluebells were the example given in the video. The nearest source of them were 20 miles away. How they got there was a mystery, but nature responds to care, and seeming miracles can take place. Once the vegetation grows, we get the return of lots of other life. Insects, caterpillars, beetles, and other winged insects. The insects feed on the vegetation, and they in turn attract the birds. The birds bring seed in their gut from berries that they have eaten, which then germinate, and the whole process gathers momentum. Ecological restoration is a natural process that we are simply interfering with, whereas we should be assisting and speeding it up. Certain larger species that are beneficial for the environment, despite their large numbers, can return or be introduced. Beavers, for example, create ponds which are good habitats for frogs, insects, which then attract birds and animals like the otter. Wild boar can root around in the soil, disturbing it, and create perfect nursery beds for the germination of tree seedlings. Many species have a long association with each other and accompany each other. Boars tend to attract robins. The robins look for grubs and worms in the soil that the boars disturb. When we put one piece back in the web of life, other pieces re-establish themselves, and the connections come together again. So the next step would be to return more of the species that have been missing for the longest time. Fragmented forests are not suitable for supporting species such as red squirrels. As many of the fragmented forests are separated by vast distances that squirrels can't cross, so assisting the movement of squirrels becomes a necessity. Squirrels, of course, distribute seeds from pine cones and acorns from oak trees, and help the forest expand. Bringing back the large predators would be the next step. The lynx as the most feasible option in Scotland. The predators fulfill a crucial role in regulating ecosystems, and if they are removed, you have the ecosystem unravelling and collapsing, but everything can reassemble when they return. Overall, then, we start with areas of strength where there are best conditions, using a key species of trees. You mimic nature where possible. You recreate ecological niches where they have been lost, like dead wood in the forest, and remove non-native species, particularly invasive ones, like giant hogweed. You focus on species that have limited ability to disperse by themselves. You assist with some of the absent processes, like nutrient cycling, natural disturbance, and predator-prey dynamics, all essential for the healthy functioning of ecosystems. You let nature do most of the work, because restoration and recovery is a natural process, and we simply help it on its way. This needs to happen at a local level and on a global level too, as our world is in need of restoration. Thank you for listening to this video. If you want to know more, become involved and network with us as we branch out and connect with worldwide initiatives, groups, and individuals involved in the supporting of the all-natural environment, with funding that will soon be available. Contact USA Dean Val and UK Kevin Smith on Facebook and YouTube, or through the website provided in the links, DuaneTheGreatWriter.net. Join us for weekly environment awareness Skypes every Sunday at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For those who have the awareness to see what is actually taking place here, with all the natural devastation, which is also purposely planned by the WorldKontrollers, you now have the real opportunity to step up and do something with those who also care about your planet Earth. Duane Lee Heppner has created the nation's united UNUversal UNUversity, which completely entails the all-natural environment everywhere, and a real education that has real value and that far surpasses any commonly created indoctrinating educational system that does not focus on what sustains all of us naturally. Real survival makes sense with everything here that is self-sustaining. We see it makes sense to create rainforests with an abundance of food-producing plants and trees for people and animals to survive and thrive.